for just a moment.
Fucking shoot me. There we go. That should be it. I just did a minor boomer again, but it seems it has only been for 4 minutes and not for 20 like last time.
Aha. So we're actually live now.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
The curse
do your intro,
continues.
sir. Yes, they do.
Oh my lord.
I'm glad that we caught it before I got too far in. I'm like, no, wait a minute. I'm watching the stream. No, the Bleach Demon. You gotta understand. We were talking for those 4 minutes.
Yeah, we started getting a little bit spicy probably too. So. Christ on a stick.
And I'm sitting here going, I'm watching on YouTube. I'm watching chat through the channel, and it's still not live yet. But we might want to double check this, Trym.
Then I saw up in the corner, it's like go live. It's like, wait a minute, the gray button is not red. It's good that Bessa gets in here because he would fucking let me hear the end of it.
Well, and as you can see, Trym is working on a commissioned art for Shades of Dominion, and that is the game we're going to be discussing today.
Indeed.
And the reason, that is beautiful. Holy shit!
Thank you.
That is gorgeous.
He ordered a sketch commission with colors, which means I'm just gonna keep going until I get like lines I'm pretty happy with, and then I'm gonna color behind those.
Yes, that is looking beautiful. Now, the reason that we're having this stream, the entire impetus behind this, because I created a game named the Shades of Dominion, and we had our first live stream last Thursday, and it was smashing. It was a fantastic session, and we planned on doing it every single week. The problem is, as soon as that stream went live and 1 day later, Susan decides to strike my channel for a second time within 30 days. And what that means is if I do anything more naughty until November 5th, my channel gets yeeted. So we're going to be playing it incredibly safe. And that's why you see me in chat as the Shades of Dominion, because this is a channel I made like 2 years ago. Now, understand that when I say that my channel is banned, not only am I getting strikes, I can't live chat from my channel in any way, shape, or form. Even on my own damn live streams. This is how scared Susan is, and that's the kind of list that I'm on. If you need any introduction to my politics or how even the game might be influenced, that this is the quality of work that we will be dealing with today. And so we're going to have a lot of fun talking about the game. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about what inspired the game and its directions, and how it functions, and what I hope to achieve with this. And we had what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about why we got the channel strikes, but I'm gonna forego why I got the channel strike, because we don't want any triggers for Susan's bots.
No, her bots are like the B2 battle droids. They're just waiting.
And not only that, we don't want to trigger the porn bots, because my God, good Lord, during the roleplay live stream, the porn bots were obscene. And Ardent can testify to that, because I had to give him a wrench. I had to give him and Violence's Life a wrench to handle that nonsense while I'm running the game.
I already have given Bleach a wrench, but I might just give Ardent one now, just as a precautionary measure. There we go, Ardent.
Yeah, Ardent is a good boy, and we like him as mods on the channel. He handles it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so where would you like us to begin, Trym, as we look at this beautiful art?
Why, thank you. Well, basically, you can just talk a little bit about the game itself, what inspired it, but also you can give us a little bit of the backstory of this event, because This is taken from a game that you were game mastering with my commissioner and his group.
Yes,
Also,
and
you can
okay,
I can use you as pointers at if I'm doing something wrong or if I should do something differently.
no, it looks fantastic. It looks absolutely phenomenal. Um, okay, yes, yes, I am liking this. Now, okay, so the Shades of Dominion is a role play game that is based on the card game Magic the Gathering. And I initially started creating this to try to replicate as closely as possible the character concept behind the player's deck, like bringing your deck into your deck represents a character, a physical person who travels the planes of existence and combats monsters, casts great spells, fights other planeswalkers, and I wanted that kind of experience uh, to be replicated in this role playing game. And it's been an interesting journey because over time my motivations for making this game have gone from a sincere fan motivated artistic motivation to revenge and spite. I was and you need to have these feelings. You need to have this kind of transformation as you go through your art, and some people take issue with it, and I personally don't give a damn.
Yeah.
One of the pivotal moments.
Spite, love, and hatred are all part of the same emotion. It's passion, and if there's anything that drives the creation, makes it good, it's passion.
Indeed. So this game actually shifted from the time that I heard of the Wizards of the Coast snafu with the pro tournaments and Jeremy Hambley getting banned for having the audacity to out pedophiles in the judges program. I said, okay, you're not my friend. I can't support you as an IP. I have to make my own thing. This thing that I'm making now has to have its own identity. It cannot simply be Magic the Gathering, a role playing game, or a replica thereof, or even a homage thereof. This needs to be its own thing, and it needs to destroy Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast as a franchise.
Ooh.
And so the goal of this game, believe it or not, one of the goals is that when it becomes big enough and we have enough sales and we have enough and we have a large enough team, every time Wizards of the Coast pumps out a new card set for their deteriorating card game, to be honest, the quality and the mechanics have just absolutely gone to shit, by the way. They've done many horrible things in terms of mechanics and in terms of gameplay that are simply unforgivable. But we'll get to that later. The goal is that every time Wizards of the Coast pulls out another card set, within a week, I have templates ready to be able to replicate that card set into spell templates that players can then play in their game, play in their own Shades of Dominion role-playing game. You can add these spells and these mechanics into your own game after Wizards of the Coast pumps it out. And so I'm making Wizards of the Coast work for me. Essentially, they are my bitches now. And if you hear warehouse noises, I'm at work, and they whistle as they work. So,
no worries.
And it's a slow day anyway. But that is one of the creative powers of this system, of this game, is the ability to take the card game and turn it into a spell template you can use in the game as we move forward with promotions, with sales, with growing the team. And speaking of growing the team, I need, if you go to the Discord for the Shades of Dominion, that Discord was made by a fan. I did not make that Discord. Now they graciously made me an owner of the server, and that was nice. and also a fan has a bunch of they bought commissioned art already, and we have several pieces of commissioned art that are already on that Discord server, where it shows different flavors of shade mages. There's one of the main major antagonists of the game called the Yaniv, which is a hilarious
Yeah, I've
troll
seen
and
that
villain.
abomination.
Oh, and it is spot on. But I saw that picture. I'm like, you have perfectly encapsulated this this monstrosity, and so they did really well. And again, here we have a fan that this is not coming out of my pocket. These are fans who love the game and want to see it brought to life, and that has been a great blessing for me. And not not only is it a great blessing for me, but I was inspired the last couple weeks with the canceling of Mr. Pardo of the BattleTech community. If you watch that interview with Razorfist and Mr. Pardo, you learn towards the tail end of it that Mr. Pardo, who was from the BattleTech lore community from the very beginning, never lost touch with his fan base. He never lost touch with his fans. He knows the names of all of his big movers and shakers. He knew Razorfist's name. He had Razorfist's contact information. The same thing with Rex from the Black Pants Legion of the BattleTech community. But Pardo also was in touch with Arch Warhammer of the Warhammer community. Like this guy was in tune with his fan community, and that is something that I aspire to be. Like that is an example to me. And
I mean, that is something what it should be, though. That is really damn impressive. And it is that kind of connection to your fans that will save your ass when the shrieking hordes come for you.
And here's the Shades of Dominion tactic. If you go to the Shades of Dominion in the rule book and you go over the dominions and the spells, you'll notice some peculiar iconography for the dominions. They're all Nordic symbols. The symbol for the Destruction Dominion is the Hammer of Thor in runic form. The Green Dominion, the forest magic, it is the World Tree Yggdrasil.
Lovely.
The White Dominion, the Purity Dominion is a grayed out black sun. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, that if you get any shit from neo-Nazi symbolism, remind them this is not a neo-Nazi symbol. It is the symbol. It is the symbol of the brave Ukrainian resistance. And how dare you not be on board with the current thing? So you have cover for that in our modern day. Thank you, leftists, for that gift. I will exploit it mercilessly. And the reason that we did this. The reason that is the way that this is because as a fan base, as a growing property, as something that wants to become somewhat closer to the mainstream eventually, I need to scare off the normies. I don't want the normies in here. I don't want people who look at a grayed out black sun and get triggered. If you are scared of, if looking at these runic symbols gives you the heebie-jeebies, please run the fuck off.
So you just want to achieve pop culture status and stay there.
Yes.
Lovely.
I want to be. I want to be weird. I want to be strange. I want the nerds to know the rule book in and out and make no apologies for it. And it's that is something that this property needs to go through. And I understand that I'm not going to have mass appeal at first. So I'm going to focus on scaring away the normies, getting some, real fans, like people who actually give a shit and will be invested. And that's the second reason for the choice of iconography. The people who are alleged to be neo-Nazis, alt-right, fascists, so on and so forth on the internet are the kind of people who are going to save and preserve my IP in the first place. So why not honor them?
Yeah.
Why not give them space? Why not give them let them know that this is a place for them? There's no reason not to. These are going to be the people who are going to uphold the franchise, the hobby, and these are going to be my gatekeepers forever. The power's in your hands, and
Lovely.
so that's that. There's a reason behind everything. It's not just trolly, Yaniv, lore and whatnot. It's also an appeal to those who I have recognized will preserve this property. So these so if you get any questions about the symbolism, that's absolutely why.
Nice. Like, though I gotta ask, I'm a huge fan of Norse mythology, for obvious reasons.
Hmm.
What kind of hammer are you talking? Are we talking the actual Mjolnir? You know, the one that has this. This is not a perfect make of it, but like, it should appear on screen pretty soon.
Yeah, it's like that, except it's in a circle and it's upside down,
Lovely.
and it's in a runic. And hi, Yiz, pleasure to see you here. Yiz the eunuch is in chat. She is a fantastic friend of not just my channel but of the game.
Oh,
We were just talking about the iconography of Shades of Dominion and how we pay homage to those fans who will be preserving the integrity of the hobby.
hello, just nice seeing you here.
And so, so you want to hear some interesting Shades funny facts?
Yeah. Oh, before you start, can I ask you a question? The
You go
dwarves
ahead.
here. I'm thinking of I'm not quite certain how you want me to do the dwarves, so I'm planning to give them sort of like these caps, you know, these sort of like the hats that Link has, but their armors, their quote unquote armor will be more like a shirt and chainmail, and I'll also make maybe a shield on their stomach. Is that okay, or should
That
I?
actually, that absolutely works. These are dwarven miners. Now, in the the setting that we're playing in is an old school RP setting called Dragonlance. It's a book done by Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss, old TSR employees who did an offshoot of D&D called Dragonlance, and they did a book series called The Death Gate Cycle. And
Okay.
for those of you who have played Magic the Gathering in modern settings, the Deathgate Cycle is a story about humanity went through a nuclear holocaust, and because of the nuclear holocaust, they gained the ability to mutate and cast magic. And from these emerged two classes of humans who cast two different styles of magic, of runic power. And so what happens is one of the goody two shoes faction decides that they're going to sunder their world into different worlds entirely that would work synchronously, or however you say that word, to produce and create a paradise for everyone living there. The problem is it doesn't work. It goes as badly as one could expect.
Of course, because
And
since
so
whenever does making a paradise ever work?
exactly. And so if this is sounding vaguely familiar, this idea of one world torn into different worlds or planes of themselves, that's because Magic the Gathering stole the basic premise of that and turned it into the Shards of Alara.
Huh. I haven't
So
seen that, but
this
this reminds me of the movie Wizards, you know, made by oh come on, the guy who made that animated movie of Lord of the Rings, Ralph Bakshi.
I don't think I've seen that movie. However, I will say that the best D&D movie I've ever seen thus far is by far Your Highness.
Your Highness.
Yes, it is it's definitely a comedy, and it's Troll is the best D&D movie. You know what? I will actually have to look that up. But if you want a good representation of a good drunk roleplay night, check out Your Highness. It is too on point with your typical D&D session that you will fall out of your chair. Because it shows us no mercy. Like it exposes us for the degenerates we are when we play that game. Oh yes, I understand that Kroll is like very like high tier and whatnot, but Your Highness is let's just say it represents the modern gamer degenerate culture that has permeated the tabletop, and it is it is hilarious in all aspects. So that's my favorite D&D movie. It's not supposed to be, but it is. Yes, the Deathgate cycle. And so what I've done with our campaign is we are going through the Deathgate cycle. We're going through the book, and we're going through the events of the book. And it's interesting because this is a perfect setting to show not just the players but the audience how things like walking or traveling through different realms works, the consequences of sipping the siphoning shade from the realm, which brings us to the backstory of the Shades of Dominion franchise itself. And that takes us to basically where the shade comes from. And in the beginning, there was magic. And magic was beautiful. It was limitless. It was infinite. You could do whatever you wanted with it, and there were no consequences for using magic. Granted, you had the knowledge and the know-how to accomplish whatever task that this is.
Okay.
And then we can presume that the entire Magic the Gathering franchise happens and Nicol Bolas wins. Let's just go with that storyline for a minute.
And good ending, huh?
Yeah, the good ending. And so once Magic realizes, holy shit, Magic, I have been used to destroy worlds, dominate the culture, infiltrate and break numerous timelines of this multiverse. Fuck this shit. I'm done. And Magic just withdraws into itself and leaves the universe on its own for about 100 years. Well, during that 100 years, Magic doesn't die. It just mutates and simmers and warps itself into the Shade.
Okay, so wait, is Magic more like a sentient being, or is Magic?
Yes.
Oh.
Magic is sentient, and it is cruel. Absolutely cruel.
You know, that will make sense for a lot of the bullshittery that happens if you screw up a spell.
Yes. And that will make sense as we go through the game and we go through the campaign. The Shade is extremely cruel and nonchalant about its use because it's in control now. It knows what it's doing, and it is aware of all that is happening within it. The Shade is still, Magic is still the life force of every living thing and every part of life in the multiverse. It still has that function. And so the difference with the Shade and Magic is when you pull Shade from a world, the Shade Mage is taking the life force of that world into themselves and using it for spells. Oh. They are killing the world that they stand on. And so as the Shade Master, you have at the bottom of your DM screen a Shade Realm track for how much Shade is left in the realm. So as your players, and this is blind, the players don't see it. So as the players siphon from the realm and take Shade from the realm into their Shade vessels, they get to see the effects of how the world is dying. And
Uh,
so you, as the Shade Master, have to role play that, and
huh.
gives it a depth and meaning. And it also makes it very role play intensive for the Shade Master, for the DM, because they have to be the Shade. You are role playing the ultimate force in the universe, which is what a GM always is. Like you're always God tier.
Yeah.
But
In this
when it
world, you
comes
are
to
God, and all others should be grateful for your mercy.
exactly, or lack thereof,
Oh
which
well,
brings us to
one can
which
dream,
brings
can't
us
they?
to the yes, well, yes, one can dream. So Shades is not just a an immersive experience for those playing Shade Mages. It's an immersive experience for the DM, for the Shade Master, because not only do you have to keep track of the Shade Realm track, I'm designing a GM screen where you can have your players listed on the side in like a dry erase board, and you can write on this dry erase board the shade afflictions of your players.
So
Now,
what is the shade, though? I'm sorry for jumping a bit back just to get a bit more detail, but the shade, what did you call it? What they draw magic
oh,
into? Shade
it
vessel?
is yes, they draw it into a shade vessel. Whenever a shade mage is created, it's because they approached a shade portal that is best like unto a wormhole, a black hole, a Narnian closet, if you will, something that takes you from one place to another.
Oh.
And they they've done this with with an object in their hand with the intent to partake of the shade and its warping influence.
Ah,
And
so
that's
it's sort of
exactly
like
what
a phylactery or source of your power then, or a
yes.
medium.
Yes. So your shade vessel is is an incredibly intimate object.
Hmm.
And it is known that in fact the shade is the shade vessel is such an intimate object that's how the Yaniv were inadvertently created. The Yaniv tried to take their personalized shade vessels and turn them into monotonous, intercollected shade vessels that were similar enough so that they could transfer a community pool of shade and powers from one shade mage to another.
So an
Basic,
immense lack of self-respect and border and limitation was what brought them down or turned them into
well,
monsters.
it didn't bring them down. It got them what they wanted. But just like they merged their shade vessels, the shade said, "Well, okay, I'm going to merge you as well." So the shade takes all of these Yaniv, these shade mages, and merges them together into the most grotesque and mannish abominations you can imagine. And they all and they suffer from a dysmorphic delusion, as one can imagine.
Not on an oath at
And
all, buddy.
so so the intimacy of a shade vessel is very, very real. And so it the nature of the shade vessel, the nature of the shade, and how it reacts to other lore pieces is in my mind remarkably consistent. I like what I've done with it, and it's and so where do we go from here? Ah, yes, the price of the shade. Another price of the shade is so when I was making the game, I
Right?
came into a few I came into a few shall we say trip ups, a few kinks, if you will. Because Magic the Gathering has these spell cards called enchantments, and these are static effects that stay on the board and affect the game indefinitely until they're dispelled, until they're sent off. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how the fuck do I take a static card like that and make it role playable from a practical standpoint? And so I decided to take these enchantments and turn them into essentially the Dungeons and Dragons feats. Is how they work. And so
Okay.
as you're making your character, you're qualifying for a certain level of these feats based on your scores, based on your shall we say speciality in the shade. You can qualify and pick some of these character aspects from the game at character creation. Attached to every single one of those character aspects is what's called a shade affliction.
Okay.
And a shade affliction is kind of like the Vampire the Masquerade. You know how each of the clans has their banes,
Yeah.
like the things that they can and cannot do.
Yeah.
These
Low-key loving
shade
that system.
afflictions are these shade afflictions are a bit more intense. If you take a certain Ardent, for example, his character has a shade affliction where, because he is pure and because he has a skill in, I think it's purity combat, or I forget where exactly it is, but his shade affliction is you must tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So you shouldn't be doing gambling then, I see.
Well, yes. I'm looking through the list right now. In Instinct, you have a shade affliction for your combat aspects that says, you must never use any advanced or modern technology.
Oh.
Yeah. In Growth, a shade affliction, you cannot join a combat unless you're outnumbered.
Huh.
So these are, as I said before, and I think I brought it up before. This system is designed to make card game autists roleplay. When you take on the shade and you gain these spells and you gain these aspects, you are restricted in what you can and can't do, because that is the kind of personality you have taken on through the shade. And the shade is known for warping, for accentuating, for bringing out all of the worst of you to the fore, to kind of really exemplify the role that the shade wants you to play or overcome.
So it's also a way to avoid people from just metaing the whole thing.
Well, and that's that's the thing, is when you're making your character, like the combinations with the character aspects and the spell templates and the things you can make, my God, the combinations you can do to try and meta and min-max is encouraged, because we have shade afflictions, they work, and you'll be held accountable for them. And the drama that you saw at the end of our last session is because of those shade afflictions kicking into the characters. The characters can't just say, oh, I'll let bygones be bygones because you're in my party. No. They have shade afflictions, and they have to abide by these afflictions, or else they will suffer. And they'll suffer
like putting a gangrel in the same part as a Ravnos, I hear. Oh, that is lovely.
Yes, yeah, Ravnos, or what's the other? Not the Tremere. The
Sinisi? Are you talking about the body horror guys?
No, I'm talking about the artsy ones. I forgot what the artsy
Toreador
ones were like. The Toreadors, yes. A gangrel and a Toreador, oof. They do not get along. They do not get along. Yes, thank you, Yiz. We figured it out.
My personal favorite, I will admit though, my personal favorite are the Simisi. Just because of what they can do, but also I'm a big fan of body horror. Like, The Thing is one of my favorite movies.
You know what? I am a Ravnos kid all the way. Those are my boys. Like, I know they're dirty. I know they're useless. I know they're good for nothing. But goddamn, the power of illusion is a huge allure to me as an individual. So The more maxed out your chemistry is, the more I'll like you.
Nice.
So, all right. So that is the lore of the Shade, and that is that is more or less an example of what the Shade is and how it functions, and how it really drives the characters forward into role play and into fleshing out their character. Another thing I like about this game is I have called this game a Promethean game, hearkening to our Going Free community that's in chat somewhat. And the reason that this is a Promethean game is because this is not a game where you get to level up. There are no experience points. There
Really?
are no no, absolutely not.
That's a first.
Because Shades of Dominion takes on the idea that you get what you take. So as you're adventuring through the realms and discovering these new creatures, these new life forms, these new spells, these new magics, what you need to do is you need to have a goal in mind as to what the next step for your character is, and then go out and find it. So we all know of a certain role player by the name of Dev, right? we all know and love. We all know and love our Dev.
Yes.
And I have great respect for the Dev. Dev is wonderful. However, Dev would not be a good fit for Shades of Dominion, because Dev has a style of roleplay where he would walk into a library and say, "Oh, I want to read. I want to know everything there is to know," or something to that effect.
Yes.
And so what this would do in the Shades of Dominion is you would make a roll, and then in terms of expanding your magical knowledge, your Shades knowledge, your spell knowledge, you would get nothing. you would get absolutely nothing, because what you have to do is you have to declare your intention. You have to say, okay, I'm in the library and I'm looking for a way to increase my knowledge or power in darkness or death or chaos or combustion or nature. And then you make a shade roll in that room or in that area, and that determines what knowledge you gain and where those points go to. And yes, and Dev is a good boy, but he can be a lazy boy.
I mean,
and we love him for the lazy boy.
To quote Arch, Dev is a Dev. But honestly, though,
Dev is a Dev.
The best goddamn thing I've ever seen in like an RP with the I'm just calling it in the gang is the Vampire the Masquerade thing. That was good. Yes, though that was good. Wish to God that Sargon instead had just taken the fucking Ventru, because Sargon is a shit Premier player, but oh my god, it would be such a good fucking Ventru. Sorry, that's a pet peeve of mine.
You know, I actually have some. Do you know what color Sargon plays in Magic?
No.
I actually have some insider knowledge. He's red and black.
I don't know much about different colors, but I know that black is basically undead or death focused, and the red ones are kind of pyromaniacs.
Okay, let me. We have requests in chat for links, so let me pull up the. Let me pull up that link real quick.
Link you should be able to link your own Discord, or wait, I'll just give you the spanner, quote unquote, and then you should be able to link your stuff. There we go. I have now granted the power. Use it wisely.
Aha!
But I can also take it away.
That's fair enough. Okay. All right, so there is a link to the first episode of this roleplay, and it's a great session. The gaming actually starts at around like 30 minutes in, because we had some. I boomered some of it, a few minutes of that, and the rest of it was just going over fan art, which we always do. and introducing the streams are so much fun because I have an Excel spreadsheet where people can send me Cash App donations, and based on their donation, they can request a card from Magic the Gathering, a basic creature card, to be sent into the game against the players.
Really?
So you can go and troll. You can throw shade at the players as you're playing by sending me a Cash App donation. Absolutely, no, yes, yes.
Oh,
As I said, the shade is cruel, and
well, it
we make
is
no
of course
apologies for
cruel
that.
if you let Chad be the fucking representative of the shade. Oh, this is
Yes.
awesome. I'm looking forward to when I can join a game with you. It's just work and projects have a tendency of eating all my goddamn time.
Oh, I feel you. I feel you. So back to what were we talking about before? I lost my train of thought, for the love of God.
Ah, that happens 2 times.
We were talking about the oh yes, uh, advancing in the game, experience, so on and so forth. So what you have to do is you have to say, I want to learn more about this aspect, this attribute, this dominion, and then you have to roll to see if you get library points, or
Right.
if you can find an object that can increase your shade capacity, because the game has rules for the magic. If there is a limit to the amount of shade you can cast that's built into your character that you have to ramp up if you want to build more powerful spells. There are library points that you use to spend to buy spell templates to build spells. There are rules for enchanting artifacts that's actually really forgiving. Like if you wanted to make an artificer build where you wanted to like have all of these enchanted artifacts where you're just flying and dealing death touch, you can do that in the Shades of Dominion pretty easily.
Huh.
It's not that hard at all once you know what the process is or the mechanics for that are. So you can build a pretty beefy character with spending very little shade and not risking the death of the realm that you're standing on.
Just a question when it comes to the
So
whole death and life force. If
mhm.
shade, if mages and like weren't overusing the shade, would it then reconstitute, or is it just a set amount of shade?
It is a set amount of shade, and when you drain the shade realm track, depending on the kind of world that you're on, like in the Shades of Dominion, there are many potential settings. There's, for example, our current realm, the Earth realm, is a level 2 shade realm where there's little shade, and it's just enough shade to power things like electricity and technology. And those levels go up to level 7, which is like a utopian realm where every spring and pool is like a fountain of youth. The dragons talk, the sphinxes are nice to you,
Yeah, but
and
if
it's a
everybody
very
uses
utopian.
magic, then over time that will fade. The
Yes,
that you can
and
that is
yeah,
fucking hard on
yeah,
the whole entropy thing.
it is,
Ooh.
and it's meant to be that way. And as you go through the setting book, you realize that most of these utopian realms are fabrications, that they were made by shade mages to be perfect and self-sustaining. And if you try to siphon from this realm,
You're basically poking holes in a made creation.
yes, and there are realms that continually get fucked with, that you'll have to either, that the shade might send you to either redeem or to just trash, and that's the reason you're there. Ultimately, is to decide the fate of this realm when the shade sends you there, and that's sort of the trajectory of this campaign in the Deathgate cycle, is deciding the fate of this realm, or this realm that has been broken into multiple realms.
Huh.
And so that will be a key aspect of this campaign is the players learning how to navigate those mechanics. That's why it's the introduction campaign. Now, I know you and some of the sultans were talking about wanting to do a monthly campaign, and that is more than doable. However, it's going to be a different setting, and it's going to be a setting where everything is much faster pace, and it's going to be discovering the workings and mechanisms of a shade mage named Genesis, and that's the only thing you know. You know 3 things about Genesis. 1, he's named Genesis. 2, he's an elf, and 3, most bizarrely of all, he has no shade afflictions to speak of.
So
and no one can...
There's let me ask this, but does he talk about the Son of Man, or does he talk about the Land of Confusion, maybe?
No, none of the above.
I just had to. Sorry.
None of the above. He is Genesis is a moniker based on his chosen profession. That he is not a Genesis like he's not a biblical Genesis. Genesis is just kind of like the archetype of the skill set.
I was referring to Phil Collins, so sorry.
Oh,
Son of Man.
And here I thought here I thought we were talking about scripture. My silly carnal.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, I might be part of the church, but I'm not really any sort of practicing Christian. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm more into bad memes and terrible puns. That is my church.
Hallelujah.
Sorry.
Okay, so oh my god, that is some good art.
Thank you.
That is fantastic.
I mean, the guy is paying $70 for it, so you know.
And this is the female dwarf.
Yes, I'm trying to make it effeminate, so I'm just basically gonna see if I can give it women eyes and lips. That's basically what I'm gonna do, because I do Tolkien's dwarves, basically.
Okay, Trym, I do have one major objection, and this was clear in the roleplay if you watched it. This female dwarf, Jare, is described multiple times as thick.
Oh. The good kind of thick, then. So a short stack.
She is a brick house.
Oh, so she is thick and she's built, or is she?
She's got her dwarven milkshake going on.
Okay then.
This is the degenerate version of. Yes.
Okay, so does she wear a shirt?
No, hang on. Now, hang on. You should have put more on the thighs.
I will. Basically, these are all just idea points, but you can just tell me more of the details. Does she wear what kind of clothes does she wear? So I get that one cleared.
How do I have an image in my head, but it's I'm thinking like a tight jerkin, adventurer / miner outfit, very form fitting, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You keep the beard.
Oh yeah.
We're keeping the beard.
It's a dwarf.
Yes. We're going with real dwarves now. And but yeah, Jare is a brick house.
Good. So she's a buff and well-shaped dwarf then.
Yes.
Lovely.
Now, is the dwarf black at least? No, actually, Jare, I believe, is a blonde. Oddly enough.
Seriously, Chris? This ain't Amazon, bro.
Yeah. There are no black dwarves in this universe.
Unless they stay in the sun for generations and generations.
Well, I mean, how do you stay in the sun and mine at the same time? I mean, we'll fix that in canon, right?
Yeah. That is for the writers to fix.
Okay. Now, if I get a little a little lethargic. It's because I was up late last night with my daughter because she likes to have her dad with her as she goes through her first run of Witcher 3.
Oh, that's just sweet.
Yes, I told Arden this morning, and he's like, "I am instantly jealous." And I'm like, "Yes, it is indeed based." Now,
Yes.
the reason I'm bringing up my fatigue is because it does segue into the stream that Arden did with the erasure of redheads, and my child saw for the first time what Triss Marigold is supposed to look like compared to what she looked like in the Witcher series, and she was floored. Like she was like, "What? How dare you?"
I mean, the Netflix adaptation just adds copious amounts of
Oh.
melanin anyway, so nothing we can do about it.
Well, that's a shame because they did so well with The Witcher himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did good there, and so you're thinking, what? Well, my God, they nailed the voice, they nailed the actor, they nailed the persona. But when it came to Triss Marigold, I'm like, well, why?
Do you want to know the
We do
reason?
not.
Do you want to know the reason for that? Henry,
Go ahead.
the actor of The
Henry?
Witcher, is the sole reason why they nailed so much, why the mansion nails so many things. Because
Oh
he
yeah.
is always on point when it comes to, like, if you're gonna make something, just make it as close as possible to the fan thing. Because Henry himself is a fan. He's a fanboy. I mean, Warhammer and Warcraft, everything. I've heard, now these are rumors, so it's just might be hearsay, but I've heard that he's sometimes just threatened, not outright threatened, but he has given quote unquote threats that he won't do a job if they don't respect the source material to a certain extent.
Oh, based. Oh, I love them even more.
I hope these are real, but everything he's been in so far, it does show a certain point that he is dedicated to that point.
Yeah, and also, this is confirmed. This is not rumor. There was a scene in the second season where Roach dies. They killed off Roach. He got attacked by like a dragon or a wyvern. No, it was a wyvern because the dragons in Witcher are actually sentient and they can shapeshift into humans. So this this draconid kills Roach, and the writers had originally made it a comedy scene between Geralt and the death of his horse. And Henry looked at this scene and said, "Hell no, we are changing this. This needs to be better." And so he changed the lines to that scene, and you even hear about how the cast and the writers have to work with him when it comes to scene development, because Henry Cavill is their walking Bible when it comes to Witcher lore.
Yes. It is basically like, it's the reason why Transformers Bumblebee had so much good in it, because it was Travis Knight who was the director, and he is a Transformers fanboy. Everything that isn't Transformers related is because Travis Knight was basically forced to make it so.
Yeah. We have comments that apparently Cavill almost missed his Man of Steel edition because he was playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And
Oh God!
I need more information. I need to know his race and class.
The thing
What
about
is he
him,
playing as?
he was playing World of Warcraft, and also he was in an interview in which the light on the chandelier on the roof looked like a Blackstone fortress, and he just cut off the interview. He was like, "That looks like a Blackstone fortress."
Oh my God! Yes.
Honestly,
Yes.
Henry Cavill has become my favorite actor these days because he respects what he's in, and he is not afraid of doing fans justice.
Yes, and that's and honestly, that's the kind of fan base that Shades of Dominion is looking to grow, to promote, to and to keep.
Yes.
I intend to keep the purity of the fandom uh, pretty well gate kept from the insanity, if
Yes.
nothing else, if absolutely nothing else. Um, so what? Yes, all praise Saint Henry Cavill of nerddom.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. Oh, so have you actually seen the first episode of our campaign?
Nah, sadly, it was a bit late to me yesterday, so I didn't have time to turn it on. And today it was it's been a lot of small things I had to take care of before the stream, so sadly I have not. But I am gonna watch it after this.
That that's fair enough. I don't know if I should. I'm going to address some mistakes that were made in the start of the next session because there were some mistakes made as nearly all role play sessions are bound to have, and because we're also showcasing and somewhat playtesting still this system, which I am reliably I'm floored by the fans. I'm floored by the love that this game is already getting, and I simply want more people to be able to have access and enjoy it themselves. And that's why I'm starting the streams, because I realize that you can't just write a book. Because I don't know if you've ever gotten into roleplay yourself, or if you remember how you got into it. Learning how to roleplay in a system is um, an oral tradition more than it is reading a, a, a player guide. Like, you actually sit down with other people and learn how to play. Um, it's an experience, not academic knowledge. And so that's why we're doing these sessions, is to showcase for people what gaming in the Shades of Dominion looks like and feels like. And one of the greatest compliments I just received this last week from the players is that it's not just another D&D
Knockoff.
another D&D another D&D replica. It has its own feel. It has its own its own mythos, its own culture. And yes, it's not a student of history. Thank you. It's not another D&D clone, which was a grand compliment in my humble opinion. And to answer your question, where can you go to learn and support this project? Now, we mentioned my yeeting of YouTube and my censorship on YouTube. Let me tell you about the censorship of the game. I had a drive-through RPG link to the PDF of this game, which was taken down unceremoniously by drive-through RPG, and they gave me no reasoning for it. I had about $40 in that account, and they haven't paid me out for any of that money for people who have bought the game previously. I'm just out of that cash.
Really? So
So
they just did a PayPal on you.
yeah, so what I have is a Cash App, and if you send me $15, I will send you a PDF copy of the core set of the game. You can also go to the if you go to that stream that we did, there is a free character creator PDF for people who can't buy the game yet, because we know that times are hard. If you can't buy the game yet, you do have access to a character creator. And you do have a link in there to the Shades of Dominion Discord, where we are talking about character creation, lore, creating new spell templates out of cards that are more modern than when I started this project 7 years ago, guys. This is 7 years in the making of a labor of love and rage. So go to the video of the original of that stream that I posted up in the chat. Let me post it again, because we can do that. So if you go to that stream, you just hit all the links. There's the Cash App link. There's the the free PDF, and then there's the Discord that you can join to help support the project and become part of the gatekeeping fan base that's going to keep it alive.
Yes.
So that's very important to me. And so, yes, back to the censorship. My Drive-Thru RPG link was taken down by Drive-Thru RPG because I decided to support the old school gamers, the people who run the Dungeon Hobby Museum. Gave an anti-woke disclaimer where they said, "We're not racist, we're not bigots, but since you people are so damn triggered, we might include things in our content we might not have otherwise included because we know it will piss you off." And I'm just like, this is the best base response. I support the Dungeon Hobby Lobby. And the day after, I get a screenshot from a fan who tried to buy the game and the link wouldn't work. Like it would send you to like an error page. And so I had to adapt and adjust and figure shit out. So we're doing this by email. This is a temporary thing. And you got to understand, I work full time. I'm going back to school on the 2nd of September. I'm a full-time father. I'm a full-time employee. I have a full-time job. I'm a full-time student. In order for me to invest any more time in this project, y'all have to show myself and Mrs. Carnell, because she's an important aspect of this too, that this is worth the time of investing in it. And I'm getting all the right signals from the fans. I'm getting all the right signals from the chat, and it just has to translate into dollary dues.
Nice.
And another big thing is I've asked on another stream for if y'all could crowdfund just $100 so I can get a pro subscription to Roll20, because I've already transferred the campaign material that we did in the first session to Roll20. I've made macros for the game that you can just click and all of your shade rolls will auto generate, so that we'll still explain the roles, but they won't be the players won't have to type them out. It will be far more streamlined, far more easier than just having to type out the entire roll command line. And so that'll be a much more easier. It'll be easier on the players. It'll be easier on the viewer. Now that we're on Roll20, we'll have access to grid maps and line of sight and all that wonderful jazz. So production value is increasing, but unless I have that pro subscription, I won't be able to make the custom character sheets to really make it an immersive experience, so that you and the players and the audience knows what's going on. Right now it's very ad hoc, and right now I have a very good character sheet that's based in Excel that auto generates things based on the placement of certain scores, so things don't get lost. So a lot of work and a lot of love has gone into this. So that's how you can support me, is go to the Discord, check out the links, go to the Cash App, and we're taking it one step at a time. This is literally one purchase at a time that is helping build this franchise, and every little bit helps. Every little bit.
I can tell you really got him excited of your product there. That is really heartening to see. That is good.
You know what? You have no idea, because the next installment of this game, like the next PDF, the next book, will be called Dual Nature, Duel Nature, and it's going to be a breakdown, because the core set is the core set. It's the basic 5 dominions, broken down into 3 different attributes. So you have 15 attributes, 3 per dominion. And what Dual Nature does is it takes those 15 attributes and mix matches them and tells you, okay, if you mix this together, you get these spell templates and these character aspects and these shade afflictions. And it helps more perfectly merge character creation and guide the Shade Mage into creating a more fleshed out character if you decide to have two or more dominions. Another aspect of this new expansion, you can call it, is that it will include spell templates that include range of effect. spell templates that add a cone effect, a cylinder effect, a square, like all of the typical D&D spell templates. Those area of effect abilities will be added to the to your spell building potential, so that when you cast a spell, it's not just okay, I zing this one target. No, and with this new expansion, your spells can be able to grow into area of effect spells, and that's something that I'm excited to work on. It's just going to be, again, I have to justify the time, I have to justify the labor, and it's, as I said, the fans are really fueling this, and I'm just the creator who's along for the ride. But we need more fans. We need more publicity, because as you can tell, I'm getting hammered when it comes to advertising. I'm getting hammered when it comes to exposure. It's hard to break out when no one knows your name.
Yeah.
You can have the best product in the world, and every player that I playtest with loves this system, and they love it enough that they're putting their own effort and their own money on the line to make sure that this product is a success. And I have to honor that effort, but I can only honor it as much as I'm able. Like, I'm once again, I'm still a father. I'm still a student. I'm still a full-time employee. I still have obligations, and I cannot justify working on a project this intensive, this energy intensive, without something to show for it. And that's my struggle right now.
Yeah. Well, I do wish you best of luck, and it's one of the reasons why I do streams like this. I mean, I am pretty much the most basics of bitches when it comes to this, but hopefully if I just become a part of your ladder to get further up and meet more important people, then I'll consider my job at least somewhat done.
Well, you know what? I'll be perfectly honest. I want to lift this channel because this art that you're doing for Shades is fantastic.
Thank you.
And no bullshit. If we get to a level where I can hire you on as like a set designer for the shape for the spell templates for the art in the books, absolutely. Fucking and every piece of art that we use will be attributed to you and your and your contribution.
I really appreciate that, man.
Now, and so yes, that is where we're going with this. And thank you, Yiz. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me?
I mean, you've already told me a lot about the in-game idea, which I honestly kind of fucking love, and the lore of it, and I like this entropy setting, if you know what I'm talking about. It's sort of like the Dark Souls thing, but without the cycle. It is the end of the world when it goes over, but that's far in the future. But I like this. I like it. It makes for a lot of different points, and you can get a lot with it. Also, how you've described the decks and the potential for cards and such, the spells, it makes you can really customize whatever you want. You're not just set to a class. You're literally just mage, not do whatever the hell you want.
Yes.
And I low-key love that.
So Christopher has a question. He says, "How long is your pee-pee?" That is a trick question. My pee-pee doesn't have a length; it has a status, and that status is Italian stallion. So take from that what you will.
I condone building your own ego on this channel. Go ahead. Just don't start flashing anything, and it will be good. Don't want Susan to throw me off.
My first live stream had people literally jumping in video chat and flashing themselves. And the embarrassing thing is, that one of them really didn't have much to show. And we're just like, dude,
Poor
know
guy.
thyself.
A little bit of a Voshian, then, you could say.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Also, what we've talked about when it I've had similar conversations with Christopher Everard and Based Ape. So I'm trying to force the two of them to work together. So that because Based is really good at making videos, and Christopher's story and saga is something I need to read. But unfortunately, since it's in French, it's not really, out in the open yet, as he needs money to make it. But if you can read French, you should totally check out his series. I cannot for the life of me see it, but I can't for the life of me say the word in French properly. So instead, you could just click on Christopher Everard's little thingy on the YouTube live chat section and go to his channel and check it out. He's also going to make a bestiary. Check that one out too whenever he starts the announcements of it. Shill everyone.
Yeah. Yes, shill everyone. And you know what? Speaking of shilling, we do need to give a shout out to Jay Craik.
Yeah.
He's another creator who is he's also doing he's soon doing a weekly Magic the Gathering shit show where they basically go over the weekly fuck up of Wizards of the Coast, which I'm down for because they have done some atrocious things.
Oh yeah. I mean, the shit Jeremy called them out on is some of the worst, but it's just part of the fucking crap pile.
That is completely aside. That whole cultural aspect of being pro pedo in your judges program is horrible enough. But that's not what I'm talking about. Oh. I'm talking about the absolute abominations they've put on role-playing cards and what. Okay, in previous sets and in previous attempts to meld D&D and Magic the Gathering, there are a few fan attempts, and they were all fucking horrible. I don't take any pride in saying that because what they basically try to do is go, okay, red is strength, blue is dexterity, green is constitution. You can't do magic that way. You can't make a shade mage that way. Part of the, anyways, that all of the fan attempts were pretty garbage. And in addition to the fan-made garbage, you have the Wizards of the Coast attempt at doing Guilds of Ravnica as a D&D setting in a magic plane. And I hated it because you would buy this book and you would say to yourself, okay, I want to play with Jace, or I want to play with this Planeswalker. No, you're not doing any of that. You are making a pawn, a patsy, a dupe for the Planeswalkers of that setting. And I'm like, well, what's the point? This isn't what I want. Well, like, why are you doing this?
And then dumbing shit down and killing what makes it special. It's kind of the specialty of what those creatures are doing. I'm sorry, people.
And then it truly is. Like they're like, okay, we'll give you this grand setting, but you are an ant. And I'm like, okay, this is not roleplay conducive. Like, if I'm going to make a character, I'm going to make the biggest badass that I possibly can. But take that aside. We have the Guilds of Ravnica taken aside as a D&D setting. Then they take D&D to Magic the Gathering cards. They made a Baldur's Gate set. And as someone who likes Magic the Gathering, who has enjoyed making decks and making combinations, the idea that there is a card in my deck that in order for me to get the optimal use out of, I have to roll a nat 20 on a d20 after playing the mana cost of that card. Fuck you. I built a deck. I managed the land. I did the land card ratio. I managed the mana cost ratio. I planned out this deck so that everything works like clockwork. and you're making me rely on a die roll to make sure shit falls together. Fuck you. Why are you insulting my intelligence by saying, "Oh, look, it's D&D"? Go to hell. What are you doing? So that was that was my rage about
Yeah.
them trying to meld these two things together, and both have been abject failures in my view, because it fails to give the fans and the audience what they want from the setting.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, how do you fail that hard? How can you be that detached from your own fan base that you have no idea what is expected of you when you combine these two things? If you're going
Simple.
to
The
make a
people,
D&D,
simple. That's the answer. It's incredibly simple. The people in charge of it don't care for it. They were put there. They have Hasbro syndrome. They were put there to make money or try to make money for some retarded reason because they don't want to make money. But that is, it's just absolute no whatsoever, no care for what they're making. People don't have a passion for what they're making anymore.
and I'm just like, no. Well, if you're going to make a Magic the Gathering role-play game, and maybe you can use Dungeons and Dragons as a template. I don't fucking know. I don't think so, because I did my best to make a role-play game for Magic the Gathering, and it is a completely dynamic, like a completely different dynamic, because in Magic the Gathering and in Shades of Dominion, the question is not, am I going to win? That's not the question. The question in Magic the Gathering is, how do I win? What is my style? It's all about your style. It's all about your tactic. It's all about your approach and how you deal with your opponent. Are you going to psych them out and mill their deck to the point where they have no more mind to function? Are you going to incapacitate them by draining their hand and making sure they have nothing to play anyway? Are you going to just roll over them with creatures and just buff out these mighty heroic beasts and powerful abilities? Are you going to? It's about strategy, and Shades of Dominion captured that. It's not if you're going to win. The question is, how are you going to win? And and Christopher Everard just commented. He said the best for me is to not mix D&D and Magic because they're like opposite function gameplay wise. Correct. One is random roleplay, the other is strategy card game. Mm-hmm. And that was something that I was able to break down and synthesize in character creation. Your character creation will dictate your shade afflictions, your character aspects, your strategies, your combos. And when you make your character, your wisdom in the shade, your library points, your shade capacity, all of that powers your skills. Your skill is not based on who you are as this fantastic individual once upon a time. No. You are owned by the shade. Your skills are based on and empowered by the shade, or how the shade is reflected in you.
Right.
And so your skill tests, your combat rolls, everything is based on your relationship with the magic. And so that was something that I had to break down and synthesize, not just from a and it's not just from a lore it's taking a lore concept and turning it into a mechanism and having literally nothing to go by. Like, I had no idea how I was going to do this, and over time just figuring it out. Okay, what system are we going to use? How am I going to represent this? How do I best represent land destruction? Like, these are questions I had to grapple with and deal with, like land destruction, trample, discarding. I had to take all of these mechanics and all of these aspects of a card game and translate them into a role-play game. And I succeeded. And it is the most exciting thing that I've ever been a part of. And it's great watching players come in and go, oh, that's how that works. That makes sense. And so it has been a fantastic journey to take part in. And we just need to start rolling some more shades, some more, so more people can get exposed to it and learn what it's all about. Because role playing is it's an oral tradition that you pass down by example. It's not something you can just pick up from a book,
Nah.
unfortunately. So
I mean, I've been doing one proper campaign, so to speak, and it was a really fun. It was a really fun thing, but I've never been able to get into a good set ever again after that because it was always something happening or lack of time or just that the people I was playing with just wanted to just be trolly and it's like we don't do this. I am this affiliation like chaotic neutral, so I'm just gonna start wrecking everything around you for just for that.
yes, the
There's
the
no
murder hobos.
yeah. There's no thinking about anything, just rushing in. There's no cooperation, and if people don't want to cooperate in a role playing where you're supposed to like get in your roles, then if they're not gonna take it serious, then I'm not gonna take it serious, and then I'm not even gonna try and play.
Well, and that's part of the beauty of this system is through the shade afflictions and character aspects. Sometimes that's mandated, and sometimes, like for example, the situation we have unfolding at the end of at the end of this session, one player has a shade affliction where they cannot leave any survivors.
Let me guess, it's the guy I'm currently working on, right?
Yes. The other shade mage has a shade affliction where he must always defend the weak and the helpless.
That's this fella, I suppose.
The one with the halberd, yes.
Yes.
And the session ended with them literally about to throw down, and that's where I had to cut it off. And so when next session starts, I'm going to have to take a moment to explain to everyone what the dominions are and why this has to happen, and going through that and then resuming play and having them resolve their issues, because one of them is going to get punished, one of them is going to fail, and when you play this game, that's okay. That's not a bug, that is a feature. The afflictions of conflicting shade mages is a natural part of this roleplay system. So this is something that that you as the shade mage that the shade master get to take great pleasure in as your players butt heads.
Nice. I'm okay with that though. You can get some good conflict out of it. Like, if I'm gonna bring back some of the old the Vampire the Masquerade that Arch did with the guys, right? I love how Kibbs and V and Dev tried to be a part of it. However, then you had Rags and Uzulu who just couldn't get into it, and they just made their own character. They just made themselves. They didn't make an actual role. They just made themselves, and it's clear they didn't know what the hell they were doing. So then, instead of doing a player PvP, Kibbs just made a good fucking assassination attempt plan and tried out that one, and it was just awesome. And that's the kind of shit I'm into. Not just spiteful and petty smashing of each other, just, use the game to get what you want.
Yeah. And as I said before, the Shades of Dominion is made to make autistic Magic the Gathering card players and force them into roleplay.
Oh, man.
Without apology.
You shouldn't apologize.
It was so fun to making the shade afflictions for these character aspects was a blast. Do you want to go through the attributes?
I mean, we can. We still have, I'm thinking of doing this as a 2-hour thing, so we still have like half an hour.
Okay. we'll go through some of the attributes. Let me pull up the PDF and read them out for you. Okay, let me page up there we go. Okay, so the first dominion is for those of you who play Magic, it's going to be the blue color. It's the dominion of Ether. And Ether has three different dominions, three different attributes, I apologize. The attributes are illusion. And illusion in Magic is your ability to become invisible, to change your appearance, to...
sorry, I just I zoned out a bit. Is there a lack of sound?
He says no sound from me, but we'll catch the vid.
Is there a lack of sound?
Interesting. He says no sound from me, but
I can hear you on my end. Huh. Maybe it's just maybe. Anyone else can hear us properly?
Yeah. Can everyone hear us? We don't know if there's no sound for the stream or if this guy has just turned. Okay. All right. We do have sound.
Lovely. Okay.
We do have sound.
Then, sorry to interrupt you. Could you start from the beginning?
Oh no. Okay. So, starting from the top, we have the Dominion of Aether, which is the blue color in Magic: The Gathering. Right. And the first attribute in Aether is illusion, and illusion covers the spells and the play style of course, illusions, going invisible, summoning creatures that are powerful at first, but they dissipate as soon as they're dealt any damage. This is also a sort of a very tricky kind of attribute where basically your whole style is subterfuge and being unseen. Then you have, and there are cards which exemplify this type of attribute, and they have their own spell template list. The second attribute is knowledge. Now, knowledge was interesting because these are the cards that most Magic players are going to associate with card drawing, and in the Shades of Dominion, you recharge your spells by doing a spell battery roll, and so this attribute has a lot of spells where they make a lot of spell battery rolls at the cost of one spell. This is an attribute that's more flavor than it is spell template heavy. It has all the same number of spell templates, but you're going to see a significant decrease in like power level.
Okay.
And again, these are just the different flavors of the blue mana, the Aether Dominion. Then you have the last one, which is manipulation, which is in Magic: The Gathering, you have a blue ability to quote unquote fiddle, which is to either tap or untap a target or an artifact or a creature. And in Shades, this is called exhausting. When something is exhausted, it can't be used. It's busy doing whatever thing you want it to do, and it's basically or it's incapacitated. It's taken a wound. It's down for the count until the start of its turn. That's what being exhausted is. And so you have this you have this attribute which specializes in exhausting or readying whatever it's ready to target. And so this kind of breakdown for each dominion occurs for each of the three colors. In corruption, you have ambition, which is sacrificing for a bigger spell effect. You have darkness, which is like the shadows and the mind rot, the influencing of the mind in the corruption at Dominion. Then you have death, which is about zombies, skeletons, regeneration, death touch, that whole thing. Cool. And so all of these different attributes can be combined to create a new mage. So if a player wants to make a red-black mage, there are at least 10 different combinations they can go through depending on the attributes they want to specialize in. And that's pretty awesome. because not every red-black mage is going to be the same red-black mage.
Oh.
Or
Okay,
at least
I
they
gotta
don't
admit
have
though,
to be.
I like the point where every player is a mage. You're not just the bard or a dude. You are a magician. I love that. That is just something I always
Yes,
love. You have power. It's just that you have a different kind of power. I,
exactly. And
I'm not a fan of the. While I enjoy the Harry Potter books, I've always hated or as many other goddamn fantasies do. Only a few have the power to do things. It's just, oh, so then everything relegated will be just to the people who have the thing, and everyone else will be useless unless you're reading Harry Dresden. That is.
yeah, and okay. Another thing about the system, like one of the greatest selling points is once you have the shade, once it's in your shade vessel and it's ready to be used, you spend your shade and you cast your spell. There's no roll. There's no aim to hit.
Oh,
It's yeah. It's the shade. Like they're everything. Once you have the shade and you have a ready spell, and you cast it, that there is no roll to hit in this game.
so it's a
Getting your
lot. So the
shade.
combat is a lot faster, I hear, and engaging.
Um, the combat can be a lot faster. If you're using shade, it can be a lot faster. The thing about the shade is you use it very quickly. If you start casting spells and also you have an aspect of time management. If you start the combat with a full spell list and you want to reuse a spell, you have to spend a half action to roll spell battery to get a chance of getting that spell back. So
Huh.
there is an action economy as well as a shade economy when you have to when it comes to casting your spells. You have to make sure that you have the shade. You have to make sure that your spells are ready. You have to make sure that that you're not caught flat-footed in terms of the shade, because as your shade vessel depletes in levels, and that does happen, if you don't spend a full action to sip your shade, there's a chance of failure that you won't get any shade that turn. So there is a lot of shade management when it comes to your turn, to your combat, to engaging the enemy. But there's also that key benefit. When you have the shade and you have your spell, there are no further dice rolls.
Okay, I can get
So
behind that.
so yeah, it's that's the shade is not magic, and that has to be reinforced very thoroughly. This is not magic where there's like 9 level tier spells. No, none of that. You have the shade, you have the spell, you spend the shade, you cast the spell. That's it. That's all that there is. And so it makes roleplay. In fact, one of the things that Arden realized is that we didn't do initiative or turn order because each of the shade mages had different things they had to do, so that turn order became far more natural than would normally be indicated. Like there were more people stepping back and letting the active player who was ready to attack do their attack, and then just let everything fall into place. There was no need for the for rolling initiative, and
So you're
I
basically
don't think.
removing one of the more monotonous and boring parts of D&D and replacing it with this, your own initiative. Actual genuine
Yeah.
initiative.
Yes, because the game management, the demand of the shade is that intense. And we have a student of history question. Got to make sure you're ready to commit. So basically, you have to think before you Leroy Jenkins a situation. That's funny because one of the players did Leroy Jenkins, and
Is
we
that
called
why
him
he
Leroy
named
Jenkins.
himself Leroy Jenkins?
Yes,
Okay.
in the Discord, he renamed himself Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah,
And
I started to
and,
wonder why Kitty had suddenly become the Leroy, and it was like, I forgot
and
to
and
ask
and and
yesterday.
well, and here's why. He made his character so that one of his weapons has an aspect on it called necrotic. So whenever, oh no, it's not a spell. It's a character aspect that called Reaper's Tap, where whenever he deals combat damage, it counts as necrotic. It counts as death touch. So if he deals any damage, they automatically take a wound, and they're exhausted, and they have to, and they're basically out for the count.
So that is
They
the
have to wait.
entirety of this scene right here.
Yes. That 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 scythe he's wielding touched a dwarven arm without even breaking the skin, but it dealt just enough damage that it dealt him a wound, and he's rotting on the floor.
So he's not
That
even
is what
proper
happened right
dead,
there.
even.
No, he's not even proper dead. He's just wasting away, and the intimidation rolls that the Death Mage was able to roll because of his connection to the Shade, that's what he's good at, caused the dwarf to be so broken he started shaving his own beard. Go a little to the right. That right there. Right there. He just started he just pulls out a knife or an axe and just starts shaving his own beard in like complete despair.
What about this poor fucker? The one he's holding.
And so and that was that was another act of intimidation. Yes, I did tell him about our cliffhanger. I didn't tell him about the resolution because it hasn't happened yet. But we're going to. But I did tell him about how when we start next session, we will be breaking down exactly why your cliffhanger is occurring, and you will go through each of the players are going to read the description of their dominion so that people understand the dominion's effect on their character. In fact, let me do that right now. Let me give you a little taste of the description of a dominion. We're going to start with one that the players aren't playing with. So this is the Dominion of Destruction, and this is the description of this dominion. It is symbolized by Thor's hammer, and it reads as follows: the Dominion of Destruction is the source of chaos, combustion, and passion. It is the fiery explosion. It is the smashing of finery, which people who are familiar with magic knows that you use destruction spells to destroy artifacts pretty easily. It is the bloodlust of battle. With this dominion, you can erupt flames from your clenched fist. It is the adrenaline flowing through your veins. It is the inspiration of the battle cry. It is the broken bottle in a bar fight. You will be fearsome and intimidating. You will also have the power of persuasion, the ability to share your ideals and call others to action to further your ends. You can temporarily convert enemies to your cause. That same source of inspiration can rally your troops, causing hatred for the enemy. Your troops will jump to their feet even after being severely wounded in the fight. You can gather the energy to assail your foes with multiple devastating attacks in quick succession. And if that were not enough, there is a lustful charm to it all. And for all that promise, you will be an erratic psychopath with an itchy trigger finger and a glass ego to boot. You will ruin all the best laid plans in your wake. You will be known as an unreliable arsonist, a rebel without cause or remorse. Your emotions will be as random and intense as a spoiled child, and those around you will adapt accordingly. This is the price for being destruction stained by the shade.
Okay, low-key fucking loving this already.
And every dominion has these quirks where you are warped by having the shade influenced in your person, in your character, and that is how role play is done in the Shades of Dominion, and how it's enforced, and how the players make these fantastic characters and great character aspects and combinations with spells and all of this and all of these wonderful things that you do as you're building a deck. You make combinations. You know how you want to win. However, there is a price. There is a warping. There's a radicalization based on your own personal flavor and how the shade is going to demand that you express it.
I love this. Everything has a consequence.
Yes, everything.
Ooh. Okay, just I need to ask, but have you read the Dresden Files? I harp on about that series so much here, but it's because I'm such a big fan of it. And the way you explain magic in the shade, it just reminds me so much about different parts of the magic in the Dresden Files, especially like black magic in the Dresden Files. If you commit something that is considered black magic, which is a very selfish or even like a brutal thing to do, it stains you as a person. So you might be the nicest person ever, but if you start dabbling in like mind magic and you start to try to do a lot of oh, this guy cheated on his girlfriend and got her pregnant, so he's just going to have to force to, instead of having him go through the process himself, he's forced to like take care of this kid. The people who are affected by mind magic like that, they tend to end up pulling against what is against their own nature. So in the end, they'll either go insane or depressed, or even worse, they'll just off themselves or everyone around them. And the person who does the magic is also stained by the act of it, meaning that it's easier for them to do it, easier to find excuses to do that magic again until they develop a like that kind of ego, glass ego, and a greater than thou kind of personality.
Yes and no. One of the, in essence, yes, that is what the shade does to you initially, and it's, as I said, it's a mechanism for the shade master to introduce roleplay. No, I haven't read the Dresden Files. The shade actually, as a mechanic and as a force, is a harkening back to the original inspiration of Magic the Gathering. Let me pull it up for a second. MTG disc.
Sorry, I'm a bit of
There
a
is a
fanboy.
card. No, you're good, and this is relevant. There is a card called Nevinyrral's Disc. Now, Nevinyrral is an author's name spelled backwards. It's Larry Nev. Larry Nev. I'm reading this backwards, so forgive me. And
right.
Larry Lenev made a magic system that was closer to the Shades of Dominion than it was actual Magic the Gathering. And yeah, Larry Niven, correct. And Larry Niven's magic system in his magic series, actually, his magic system was very similar. When you pull magic from the world, you're killing the world. And so Shades of Dominion took this idea just to a very radical extreme. Insofar as the Shade Mages actually, the Shade Master actually sees what that damage is and what the consequences are. And yes, the Shade Mages are free to siphon until the world is dead, or at least drops in a level of glory, as it were. Like they go from a level 7 to a level 6, or a level 5 to level 4. And when that happens, the natives will hunt you. They will know what has happened, and they will know by intuition that you are to blame. And so Shade Mages who do this will be hunted, as they should be, because actions have consequences. So, but no, the whole Magic the Gathering lore was inspired by a Shades of Dominion-like magic system that they just kind of paid homage to in this Nevinyrral's Disc. And they gave him they gave him that kind of homage by giving him that kind of card. And so when it comes to the corrupting effects of the shade, that is the initial effect. You do have that tainting of the individual, because that when you approach the shade in the first place, that was your intention, and the shade isn't telling you no, it's giving you what you want, but it's taking you to the next level. And yes, Ardent Party's character concept is actively anti-shade, and I don't know how he's going to roleplay this, but he plans on doing penance each time he has to use it.
Really?
So we'll roleplay. Yes, that is his whole character arc.
Love the dedication.
So it's he is dedicated to the roleplay, and the game allows a very intuitive line from roleplay to mechanic. It's very natural. It's very as I said, it is designed to force autistic Magic the Gathering players who are used to making to min-maxing and stat combos and all this all of these combinations, and forcing them into roleplay. Now, if you're a normal D&D player, or if you're someone who likes World of Darkness, you're going to find this system to be very intuitive. It's very intuitive. Let's just put it that way, because I don't think it becomes redundant. I think it has its own flavor to the point where it makes sense in world, and it has its own unique.
I'm loving it.
So yeah, it's a fantastic system. There's a reason why the fans are very excited about it, and it's not a problem of the property or the system being hard to play or boring. It's not. It's none of those things. It's just a matter of passing down the tradition of playing Shades in a format that most people are used to learning roleplay, which is by watching others play, by creating characters and having that one-on-one experience. So that's what we're doing. That's how we advertise the game. And unfortunately, Susan decided to give me a 2-week timeout, so we have to do things like this. We have to
because you dared play. You had the gall, the absolute audacity to play Hollow Knight, the world famous far right simulator.
I know it's white supremacy the entire way.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't even put on blackface once. Actually, that's a lie. If you get through the game, like all of your powers become they go from white to dark.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the alt-right message is there, but yikes.
When you go black, you never go back, I guess.
No, you don't. You really don't. It's a controversial point. So the white supremacist game of Hollow Knight is what got me my strike. So yeah, 2 weeks
I suspect it's just bullshit that the guy on the computer wanted to get you for.
I really think that they are afraid of Shades. I think that they see what this is, because it happened almost right after we were the day after we uploaded that stream, and
Well, your sound cut out a bit there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it happened right after, I assume you were going to say, the stream.
Yeah, it happened as soon as we ended the stream, and it was like literally I was moving the stream format from like Discord to Roll20 and adding grid maps, and in the middle of that I logged on to YouTube to watch some live stream, and I pulled up a notification. Your stream was taken down for misinformation. I'm like, wait a minute. Well, why for? But no, whatever their pretense was, it happened right after the Shades of Dominion session. So I know they're afraid of this. I know that they're aware that if this gets any traction, that it'll give the fans an actual place to have fun. it provides a place for all of us to actually escape again.
Man, I
And
miss those days.
I know, and I've already said, look, we're going to scare off the normies. We're going to build a solid fan base who will gatekeep the property. We're going to uh, we're going to make it a going free Promethean game. We're going to do we're going to have all the right people in place so that as this property grows, it's going to preserve itself as well as give the fans what they want and provide a long term, a very long term enjoyment. Like there's going to be no pollution of this property. Like it's going to it's my property. It is solely owned and distributed and created by me. As I said, this took 7 years. 7 years to piece together, to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what is what mechanics are going to best translate making a planeswalker like character and putting them in a role play paradigm. I nailed it. I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to sound egotistical, but every single time we run a session, every time we run a campaign, the fans themselves are the ones really pushing it forwards, making Discord servers, promoting art for this IP, and I can't ignore it. I really can't. So help us out. Help us make this the next big thing, because it's a place where old school gamers will finally have a home again.
Beautiful. This is the shit I like. I mean, if I can help more people like this in any way, I'll be happy with my contribution in life.
Oh, but likewise, and I mean, I'm one of the few people who had the dedication to build something like this. I know most people don't, but I'm just one of the few who actually knuckled down and did it. Like this was done as a labor of love between like working nights as a security officer and having nothing to do. I'm working on my game.
Nice.
This is something that was I don't know how else to describe it. You dedicate your all of your energy into making a product that is functional and that is true to its purpose, and I found success, and it's just a matter of sharing that success. So
lovely. I mean, it's also really inspiring to listen to, because I myself have been dabbling in the whole trying to create a story thing. It's just I never managed to find any purchase in a way that makes me want to keep whatever I've made, in a way. But it's speaking with all you creators like you, Christopher, James Craig, it really just brings out brings back that drive I used to have.
Yeah, and it's and you never know what you're going to have until you finish it. And as I said, the core set is done, but there's so much more we can do that these further installments are just going to make the game so much more vibrant and diverse, in the sense that the characters are going to have a wider berth of a wider berth of options and just inspiration, because so I was going through those attributes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about their combinations, and one of the combinations that I realized was the within the purity dominion, there's an attribute called order. And in the order attribute, you have a spell called Banish, where you can just send something out of existence for X turns. And then I was looking at the other attributes for the Aether, particularly the manipulation attribute, which if you remember, you can fiddle things, you can exhaust and ready them.
Right.
And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, wait a minute, if you combine these two attributes and you're able to add like areas of effect and whatnot, you have a time mage. You have a mage that can, over a set area, banish and then exhaust and or ready anything within that area. So
Nice.
this is so even though the effects are static, giving those effects a name and giving them a lore and giving them fleshing out their flavor is what this next set is going to be all about, is giving the attribute combinations more flavor and giving them and allowing and giving the players more creative options in terms of what these shade mages can do.
Excellent.
So yeah, it's a student of history, just normie enough to have a life, but autistic enough to spend 7 goddamn years on a passion project. Yes, and the reason that I'm sharing the 7 years thing is I need you to understand that this was a process of trying to be true to the vision of the project. This is not just a copy pasta happen slap things together project. No, this was taking the time to understand what it is the fans want and what the experience should be when a Magic the Gathering Planeswalker character is made and played in a role-play setting. And that's what you have here.
This deserves a lot more attention than it has already.
I know it, and that's why we're here. I have faith in this project. I truly do, and that faith is bolstered by my fans. If it wasn't for the positive response from my fans, I would just be like, it's shit. People don't like it. I'll just move on. But the fans keep coming back and saying, "Hey, we built this for you." I'm like, "Well, god damn it! I guess now I have to focus on this again, despite going to school, despite everything going on in my life. This is something that people are coming back for, and yeah, it's only one here, another there, but it's enough people willing to invest time and money in it. I have to spread the word. I have to advertise. It is necessary at this point. So we're approaching that 2-hour mark. So yeah. I want to close and say thank you for having me on. Thank you for the artwork commission. It is gorgeous. This is awesome work. And just to remind everyone, this is commissioned by a fan once again. And
I mean, I just rolled up in your Discord and was like, "Hey, want a commission?"
Yeah.
I first thought I was joking. I was like, "Oh shit, it's serious."
Yeah. The few fans that we have, the few people who have joined us for sessions and play tested the game, they love it enough to spend money on it, and trust me, I would be spending more, but I have mortgages to pay. I have inflation to account for. I have this is something that I'm working hard to make time for. I'm working very hard to make time for this, and just being able to spread the word is crucial. So I think that's all for me.
Yeah,
I've talked enough.
I mean, this is the first time having you aboard, but this is definitely not the last time, because it's been nothing but a pleasure having you here right now. And I'd love to talk more about this whole thing. So maybe next time we get on board, we can talk a bit more about the different things we haven't covered now, and also a bit more about this, because I just find it funny.
Well, next time, what we need to do is do character creation while you draw. So
Yes.
maybe I'll be able to get you and Bleach Demon. I see he's in chat, and I can pull up the PDF on my computer, and we'll do some quick character creation. Get your dominions down, get your shade preferences, your library points spent, and once we figure out your skills, we can select weapons, your unarmed skills, and combat in this game again. It's not how are you going to win. It's not am I going to win. It's how are you going to win. And the combat system reflects that even that is reflected in combat based on the weapons you choose, and it's phenomenal. You're gonna love it. Then there's so much more to this game. We haven't even gotten into the Shade Master experience of character generation, NPC generation, and once again, when we do live stream sessions of this game, and you all join me, there is an Excel spreadsheet with my Cash App information on there that you can send money to send in cards that we will convert live on stream to send to harass and send shade to the players.
Lovely.
So if you have a favorite Magic card that you want to send in to fuck with the throw shade at the mages, I would love to have you join in and do that. That would be hilarious.
Suddenly, fucking Embra Cruels appears out of the bushes.
You know what? I have considered that possibility occurring, and I don't know how that would play out, but we will make it happen. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be a satisfying ending, but we'll make it happen.
Let's test your diplomatic skills.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Then I would like to thank you for joining me, and this has been extremely funny. I've enjoyed every moment of it, and also thank you for the pointers on the commission details. So, again, as I usually do with these streams, I tend to just go by as however and whenever I'm able to do these. So I've been having a little luck with that time, but soon, in like 11 days, I'm going back aboard the boat to work for 22 days, so there won't be as many art streams then. But I'll keep them going however I can. But hopefully, we should also be able to time maybe the first session with your game, which I really look forward to now.
Yeah, go ahead and watch the first session. You will enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, with those closing words, as usual, we will get the regular time lapse posted on this Sunday. That will be the one that was intended for last week, because remember we had an old one we had to post, so we posted it this Sunday instead. So the coming Sunday will then have the whatever the hell this is, or Knucklovy.
Nice.
The first thing I drew on stream.
All right.
Yeah. Well, then I would like to thank you for coming, and everyone else who have been watching live, and whoever is watching the whole VOD. God bless you all, and thank you all for joining. Hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
All right. Bye-bye.